The month of July is now upon us, and this is important because for those of you who've been around the channel before, the month of July, many people have speculated is going to be a massive month for commitments, and specifically, if we look on 24/7 Sports at the scheduled commits, they are coming and coming quickly, and the coming days are going to be filled with top-level prospects making their decision. But today, I want to talk about a few prospects and battles going on between the Oklahoma Sooners, the Texas Longhorns, and the Alabama Crimson Tide, and how these next few days could be big in each of these classes, and you don't want to miss it. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe that the month of July is going to be a massive month for commitments? And let me know what you're thinking there. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, because I do constant college football content, and you don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoy that content, be sure to like, comment down below, because those interactions are massive. But with all of that being said, let's kick it off focusing on the Oklahoma Sooners and an incredibly talented in-state offensive lineman in Jacob Sexton. Now, Jacob Sexton would be a massive piece to this Oklahoma Sooners class, but they are going to have a tough battle ahead of them. In fact, we've seen Jacob Sexton post pictures from his visits to the teams such as Texas A&M, the Alabama Crimson Tide, so OU has got a tough battle ahead of them, but they have to feel good about where they are. When you talk about the offensive line in the University of Oklahoma, you certainly can't go very far without mentioning Bill Bedenbaugh. And though there are a bevy of talented offensive line coaches in the nation, Bill Bedenbaugh is certainly at the top of that list, and even further than that, any opportunity you get as an offensive guy to play in a Lincoln Riley system where the future of the quarterback position is very, very positive. I mean, right now you have Spencer Rattler, then you have Caleb Williams, Malachi Nelson looks to be a Sooner lean. That's going to be coming up this month, something we're going to be following. The offensive line is going to be incredibly important to the Oklahoma Sooners, especially given the fact that they have two very talented and dynamic running backs in this class. You would really love to go and shore up the offensive line now. Malachi Nelson being a 2023 guy, you would love to have this 2022 class full of offensive linemen that are incredibly talented, and what better way to do it than an in-state guy that would be committing this evening, something that we are going to be talking about early tomorrow morning. You do not want to miss that. But Oklahoma is also going to be watching a former Oklahoma Sooner making his decision tomorrow morning in Jordan Hudson, and Jordan Hudson is an individual, very talented receiver, top 200 player in the nation, and he's going to be deciding between the Texas Longhorns, the SMU Mustangs, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, this is going to be an interesting battle for Hudson because SMU and Texas are in a really good position, and if I had to guess, I think Alabama is the team looking in. So don't get me wrong, the Alabama Crimson Tide would love to get a commitment from Hudson. I just haven't heard a whole lot of traction between those two, but the Texas Longhorns just recently hosted Hudson on a visit. That apparently went very well, and SMU seems to be the favorite and has been considered the favorite since he decommitted from the Oklahoma Sooners. It's just going to be very interesting to see whether or not the Texas Longhorns did enough between the time he decommitted from the Oklahoma Sooners till now to sway him from being an SMU lean. Kelvin Banks, the five-star offensive tackle from the state of Texas, is going to be a name we have got to watch tomorrow. The Texas A&M Aggies, the Texas Longhorns, among other teams, are all vying for the very talented five-star, but A&M and Texas have put themselves in a unique situation. A&M has been after Banks for quite some time. Texas has really made a strong push as of recently, but the question is going to be, who does he ultimately choose? And this is going to be a awesome battle to watch play out, because either way you slice it, Banks is going to be a cornerstone for one of these institutions' offensive line. And if we specifically look at the University of Texas, they've gotten some talented offensive linemen committed to this class in the past few days, but Banks is the name they would love to be the cementing piece for this offensive line, especially if they aren't able to land Campbell. They look in a good position with Campbell, but you would love to be able to get Banks and Campbell and always have that assurance policy. A&M, same thing. They would love nothing more than to get this five-star offensive tackle in to be the cornerstone of their offensive line piece. A&M coming off of a year where they are going to be recruiting the offensive line position as well as anybody because of how incredibly good that offensive line was last year. That's going to be a very heavy tool in their recruiting arsenal because they can point to a incredible year of success where that unit, they stayed their time at the institution and they were as disciplined, as good as any other unit in the country, and it really showed. That's going to be very interesting to see how this battle plays out. I cannot wait for Banks to make his announcement. But the last guy I want to talk about, Antonio Kite for the Alabama Crimson Tide, a 4-star athlete hailing from the state of Alabama that the Crimson Tide would love to get a part of this class. Now look, Kite sits outside of the top 300, but if you were asking me which guys in this class could be guys that rise, Kite would be one of the names on that list. And I've talked about some of the other names. Raleek Brown went from a 5-star to a 4-star. I think he could go back up to a 5-star because of how electric he is. But Kite is one of those guys. I'm not saying I think he's going to rise into 5-star territory. That would be an unheard of rise. Maybe not unheard of, but you get my point. Just absolutely insane rise. But I do think we could see him maybe break into the top 300. He is a very talented player, both at the wide receiver and the DB position, and he impressed the Alabama Crimson Tide staff while camping. Kite is a name that I cannot wait to see. He would be a very nice addition to this Crimson Tide class, a class that only sits at 8 commitments right now, so they're going to be looking to add in some guys, and I think that the month of July is going to be big for the Alabama Crimson Tide. The month of July is going to be big for all institutions, but it's awesome to see these institutions such as the Oklahoma Sooners, the Texas Longhorns, and Alabama out in these battles for the nation's top prospects, and I'm so excited that the month of July is now upon us, and we are going to start seeing fireworks come out as the recruitment period really starts heating up. Hop down to the comments, let me know which teams do you think are going to benefit tremendously from July being here and commitments starting to come down. Let me know down in the comments. That's it. See ya.